This is Olli-Pekka Laine from Amorphis. You are listening to Brutally Delicious, and come see us live whenever we enter to the US again, and listen to Halo. It's a great album, so shine on.
1, 2, 3, 4. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
You guys just finished doing some shows. How did they go so far? Like post-pandemic.
Oh yeah, we started from States and Canada, like a North American tour last April, and that was the first leg of the Halo tour.
Right.
And then we had festivals and an European tour with minkäs me tehtiin?
Blackout.
Yeah. Anyway, we toured like 6 weeks in Europe with LWT.
Oh, that's a good show.
Yeah, and Dark Tranquility. So it was good. Really.
And Near to Obscurity.
Yeah. It was pretty successful tour, so it felt good to hit the stages again.
What was it like getting back out there after all that time? Were there nerves or?
It was strange. Somehow you feel like comfortable, but when you really hit the stage, it feels awkward, kind of.
Yeah.
You don't have the routine, and everything feels kind of weird. But
Yeah.
Did it take a while to get your sea legs?
I don't know. I think in a way it was great to have a kind of a pause, and of course I don't like the pandemic thing, but
Right.
on the other hand, we have families and stuff, and it felt quite nice to have a kind of pause. But of course, when we started to make real shows again, and especially the summer festival season was perfect. So
Right.
It started to feel like this is the thing.
Did you find that you were able to like channel that downtime into like creating Halo or extra? Because I think, I'm going to interrupt you for a second, I think that we're going to find artists and artistic expression is going to explode like a renaissance of artistic creativity, right? Because everybody was home creating for 2 years.
Yeah. Well, it seems like people are putting out solo albums and different projects at the time.
Right.
But for me, personally, it wasn't that creative time at all. It was like it was even less creative.
Oh, really?
Than generally, yeah. And well, of course, it was, as Tommy said, it was pretty relaxing because you couldn't even do anything. It's like because it was
Right.
total shutdown. You just had to stay home and read a book. So it was a really relaxing time in a way.
Right.
Introvert as I am, so
Yeah.
it was a
I think that's a whole like metal thing, right? There seemed to be a lot of introverts in some way or
it was
another.
kind of blessing in that sense. But when it comes to touring, it was when we hit the States, we still had masks on, and we had to do tests and show the documents of having vaccinations and stuff like that. So, but in the middle of the tour, it started to feel already okay. We're done with this because people started to get
Right.
rid of the. That was pretty strange and awkward experience because it changed almost overnight during the tour.
Right. So with that in the back of your head then, was it hard to be out on the road knowing that what you didn't know 2.5 years ago, like, you know, you had to walk around with masks and do all that shit?
I think during the tour it wasn't that bad, but before the tour we were really nervous how bad it's gonna be because everything is more expensive and there are shitloads of band touring at the same time. It's too much for fans.
Yeah.
Right, because there's only so much money and
And
10 shows in
And
town.
luckily, I think they cut off the vaccination test from Canada. I mean, in the border of Canada. And
right before
States.
we entered.
Yeah, because that would be really expensive for us because we went 2 times to Canada and our crew is like 6 people. So it's really expensive.
Right.
Yeah, and still, it's when it comes to pandemic, it was we were kind of fortunate because in Finland the epidemic wasn't that bad.
Right.
So we could do shows there.
Oh, okay, cool.
Even festival gigs and a couple collab shows with the 30th anniversary
Right.
sets, and of course we did virtual show, which like wasn't for us, I think. But,
Yeah.
but it was something that we just had to do in order to keep it going and keep the flow on in a way.
I think as a band we survived pretty well
Yeah.
with pandemic.
Yeah, that's right.
We did some special shows, and some of the guys went back to work
Right.
just to get money. and
Yeah.
stuff.
You gotta live, right?
Yeah, and luckily I had also chance to do some work to get money.
Right.
But I think for most of the band it was a big challenge, business-wise, of course, because if you only have the music as an income,
Yes.
it's impossible to get anything.
And also we were just ending the Queen of Time touring period when
Right.
it
So that was
started,
kind of
so-
good timing. Then,
yeah, that's
sort
right,
of.
that's
Yeah.
right. So therefore we had time to start the pre-production of Halo and do it in all piece. So it took around, let's say, 6 months to complete the album in all,
Right.
when Queen of Time took only a couple months maybe. So it was a little bit longer period because we had time to think of the
Right.
vocal arrangements and stuff like that. And,
Sweet.
Yeah.
So I was doing some research and I found that you guys are nominated for 3 Emmas. Is that correct?
really?
Is it 3 or 2? Maybe 3.
Okay, I don't know.
I saw 3, but even
Yeah.
2, that's quite an
Yeah, yeah.
accomplishment, right? What's that feel like?
That,
Well, it's not the first time for us, and I don't know, do we get any of the statues, but of course in Finland, metal in general, it's been quite a big thing, so it's nothing that extreme, but of course it feels nice, and let's see what happens. I think it's gonna be next Friday.
next Friday.
Oh, it's that
yeah,
close.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's with the Finnish. Even though there are lots of metal bands in Finland, Finnish music industry doesn't dig metal that much.
Really?
So yeah, that's really like an awkward thing, and so it's therefore quite special that we
Yeah.
are nominated. So it feels really good.
So I don't know if you know the answer to this question, but why do you think so many per capita metal bands come out of a small country like Finland as opposed to the rest of the world? Is it the water? I mean, because really, if you look at it, you guys have more quality metal bands that come out than pretty much maybe Sweden.
It must be the acid in the water. I don't know. But yeah, it's I had a kind of a explanation maybe because we have long winters and we have time to sit at home with the guitar, and now we have also YouTube channels where you are like limitless sources of
Right.
like education videos. So that probably might be one reason why we have so much activity in like music side in Finland. I don't know.
It's really interesting how that works out because there's a ton.
Yeah, I think one reason is that we have had some great bands like Bodom and Him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a great inspiration for kids to have a band. But
Yeah.
some people say that it's because of the long winter or darkness or
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe state of mind.
And there has been like a really great bands even during 60s, 70s, 80s, you know. But we were like behind the Iron Curtain maybe, like
Right.
almost back then. So nobody was that interested in what was happening in Finland music-wise.
Right.
So Sweden was like totally different kind of ballgame because they had industry there and we didn't. And music industry in Finland wasn't able to bring bands
Right.
outboards.
Okay.
So that's the reason. And then when metal bands started one by one to get through, of course with foreign labels, because Finnish labels wasn't interested in
Not at all?
Stratovarius or Amorphis.
Really?
No, they didn't care about us. So we all signed to wherever, to Nuclear
Right.
Blast, Relapse.
Century
and-
Media, that kind of stuff, yeah.
So that was how Finnish
It got out.
music got out eventually.
Interesting. So I know we're short on time, but Did I read you guys have a watch brand?
Like this.
I guess so.
Yeah.
How did you make this segue into?
Well, usually it's like some guy just likes the band and have some kind of crazy idea. Maybe we could do some cooperation with some band. And I'm an old school guy, and for me it feels kind of strange to cooperate with some business outside music business.
Right.
But I think that's the way nowadays to get salary, because the records doesn't sell that much, and luckily we have found some people who are really talented and not just trying to get money out of it, more like doing some quality stuff.
Right.
Like the watch. This is quite expensive, but it's like real watch, not
Right.
like a kid's watch.
Has the response been pretty good?
I don't know.
Me neither.
Yeah, we got
It's sold
some
out.
free, yeah, and we got
that's
some
good.
free watches. So
Right. I just thought that was interesting because you see metal bands aligning with clothing companies or
Yeah.
alcohol or something,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that was kind of an interesting thing that stuck out.
Yeah.
So the last one then, you mentioned it earlier, 30 years. You ever imagine you'd be doing this 30 years later?
No way. I thought maybe 4 years would be like normal lifespan of a metal band or with whatever band in Finland. But yeah, it's like, and even around say 98, I felt like okay, we've done. This band is like over. Like it has come to its
Right.
end to its lifespan. It wasn't that good time for Amorphis, so that might be the reason. But luckily the guys just went on and stubbornly just made album by album. And,
That's quite an accomplishment. 30 years in the business is crazy, right?
Yeah, you can thank like Esa and Tomi Koivusaari
Yeah.
for being like so stubborn of and wanting to keep it on. So
Sure.
so well now it feels all natural. Like we could keep doing this for 20 years.
Right.
Like
And that's the thing I like about this festival, or any festival. Like in the metal world, it's multi-generational. I mean, I'm seeing little kids out there, all the way to people way older than me, and everybody's kind of sort of digging it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I think in Finland, bands didn't live much longer than 4 or 5 years back in the 80s, or
Right.
But it kind of changed since that.
Sort of found your groove and just relax in it, right? And ride it out.
Yeah. We can make living out of this, so
Yeah.
that's the like most crucial thing, I think.
Absolutely.
Because when you're young, 1 year feels like it's like several years.
Right. And now we're talking 30.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, that's how it goes.
Sweet. So I know that was my cue to stop, but